I'm so pleased to join you by video. And by way of introduction, my name is Marsha Blackburn. I have represented Tennessee's 7th Congressional District in Congress, and it has been an honor to work with many of you and to receive the Friend of the Farmer Award. As many of you know, I grew up in South Mississippi in what my mom always said was a good 4-H club, Farm Bureau, Baptist Church, and Republican Party kind of family. And I attended college on a 4-H club scholarship. And that led me to working my way through school selling books door to door for the Southwestern Company that is headquartered here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. And Chuck and I have lived in Williamson County. We have 2 married children and 2 grandchildren. Every day I go to work to defend faith, family freedom, hope, and opportunity. You've asked about the top 3 goals. What would be the first things to work on? Well, of course, first of all is having the Senate be functional. I think the Senate is basically broken or dysfunctional, and they need to act like the Republican majority that they are. This means getting things done and finished into the president's desk. The issues that are most important to Tennesseans are good constitutional judges who are going to abide by the rule of law, who are not going to be activist judges and legislate from the bench. I also hear from many of you that getting some of these regulations off the books is mighty important. I share that goal, and certainly with the EPA and WOTUS. The other is tax cuts, making certain that we focus on keeping the Trump tax cuts and that we get tax cuts 2.0 done. My philosophy on how you get to that healthy balance between economic activity and appropriate regulation is really pretty simple. I use it as a formulary, and it is this: less taxation plus less regulation plus less litigation equals more innovation and job creation. I know that that is something that you see every day. I certainly see it, and we hear from small business owners that it applies to them in so many different areas. Whether you're on Main Street trying to do a business, or you have an agribusiness that you are trying to grow, what you want to do is have less government interference and less compliance cost, and of course protection from a litigious society. That allows you to move forward with confidence. Of course, when it comes to regulation, I know the EPA is right at the top of your list of regulators that and regulatory bodies that we'd like to kind of rein in. We've talked so much about WOTUS and getting WOTUS off the books, and yes, we continue to support that. We also want to make certain that the EPA is not on the farm trying to regulate spilled milk or trying to regulate mud puddles. This is what you call overreach, and as the EPA for so many years got off of their mission and began to move into other areas, this is what you saw. It's why it is so imperative that we rein in the EPA. One of the things that had not been lost on me with the EPA, during an oversight hearing, I asked the woman that was the administrator for the agency at that point if she had conducted cost-benefit analysis on a rule that was causing a lot of headaches. It was an overreach, and her response was very telling. She said, no, we are focused on the outcome. We are not focused on cost-benefit analysis. Well, guess what? You're focused on cost-benefit analysis every single day. It is called making a profit and being in the position to grow that business so you can pass it on to your children, to your grandchildren. And many of our Tennessee farmers have those farms and businesses that they do want to be able to pass on to their children and their grandchildren. You know, we know that regulation cost Americans about $1.9 trillion a year. If it were an economy, it would be about the 12th largest economy on the face of the earth. Now think about that. When our regulatory burden costs more than the entire budget or the entire productivity of some of our allies. And we know that the federal government never, ever gets enough of the taxpayers' money. They are always going to be on your back and in your pocket. That's why I say let's get them off your back and out of your pocket, and why we need to be reducing the cost of compliance. I have to tell you that many of the Democrats that are in Washington, D.C. look at rules and regulations as having the full force of law. And they want to make certain that rules and regulations are there to kind of rein you in and tell you what to do. If we can get government off your back, we free you up to make those wise decisions, to how to innovate, to how to create new jobs, to how to grow your business, and to achieve your version of the American dream. One of the things that I am going to be consistent in doing as your U.S. Senator is rolling back and cutting as much of that bureaucratic red tape as I possibly can. And I'll do it every single day. And I will tell you this, number one on my list is always the EPA. Farmers are faced every single day with regulations that make their jobs harder, and this is one of the reasons that I appreciate many of you who have an ongoing conversation with me to help me better understand how regulations that are going on the books, it may be the electronic driving logs, it may be EPA regulations, sometimes it's OSHA or DHS regulations, but thank you for weighing in and letting me know what is one of the best ways to serve you. As we have had our conversations through the years, the last several years, about high-speed internet and rural broadband, it has been such an honor to lead on this issue for you. I fully understand that you can't have 21st century healthcare, 21st century economic development, or 21st century education without access to high-speed internet. Recently, I have moved forward with the Precision Agriculture Bill and the Access Broadband Bill, both of those coming under my leadership as chairman of the Telecommunications and Technology Subcommittee. And we know this is going to help you as you grow your businesses. Now, when it comes to education, I tell you, I look at this one as a mom. And I have talked to many of you who have to, once the kids come home from school and they do their chores and eat supper, you get back in the truck or the van and you head back into town to get access to a Wi-Fi signal so the kids can finish their homework and get that in before the deadline. This is one of the reasons we need to make certain that we have access to high-speed internet, and why you don't have DC picking winners and losers how to do that. All of the legislation that we're pushing forward is technology neutral, and technology is our friend here. We've got so many different opportunities to deliver broadband and to close the digital divide, and I want you to have that choice. I've been working with the President to streamline permitting and to make certain that we have pushed bipartisan common sense solutions. Things like digging once, only once, when you're laying an interstate highway. So then you've got the conduit in place to carry that high-speed internet along our interstate highway systems. We've also made available through the Department of Agriculture's RUS program $600 million in grants. Many of our counties, our cities, our electric co-ops are availing themselves of these grants. They're going out through rural development, and they're going to be there for you to use, coupling those with the state grants and really expanding access. Rural areas cannot be left behind. That is why we are focused on the expansion of rural broadband. I know that to you all, you're watching very closely what happens with the Farm Bill. I am also. And we are hopeful that this is going to get finished and soon be on its way to President Trump's desk. We fully understand the importance of that. I want to encourage you to continue your conversations with me. As your next U.S. Senator, I'm someone who's going to take those Tennessee values to Washington, D.C. I'm going to work with you to make certain that issues like addressing the Farm Bill, addressing visas and immigration, making certain that we keep the tax cuts, that we get federal judges on the bench, rolling back the Affordable Care Act and getting that off the books so that you have access to quality health care at a price that you can afford. I would appreciate your vote and look forward to serving you as your U.S. Senator. Thank you so much.
I'm Bill Lee, and this is my farm, Triple L Ranch, a 5-generation beef cattle operation of about 400 Hereford cattle. I live here, my grandfather lived here, my grandson lives here. We're livestock producers. We sell registered cattle to other breeders, but we also sell meat to local markets and restaurants. In fact, my 84-year-old mom will be selling meat out of the back of a truck at the local market this Saturday. I also run Lee Company. It's an HVAC and plumbing and electrical business that employs 1,200, mostly plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and electricians. In fact, I have a master plumber's license myself. And there's one other thing you ought to know about me. My relationship with Christ is the most important thing in my life, and that'll never change. In fact, right over there on that hill, a real tragedy occurred in my life years ago that God used to strengthen that relationship and to give me a perspective that forever changed my view of the purpose of my life. So I'm a man of faith, I'm an experienced businessman, and I'm a product of rural Tennessee. That's who I am, and those things have everything to do with why I'm running for governor. Let me take you to a few places on our farm so we can talk about the questions that matter most to you. And you can find more detailed answers at BillLee.com. Growing up here in Fernvale, I developed a deep appreciation for personal property rights. And whether it's annexation, or taxation or regulation, I know personally the challenges of managing an operation on your own land. And your property is your property, and you have the right to work the land the same way your father did or his father before him. It's something that we cannot compromise on. So as governor, I would stand against annexation, and I would oppose any efforts toward a statewide property tax. And I would defend and protect our state's right to farm law, so that no farmer would ever be intimidated into changing his or her way of life. As farmers, we know how to be good stewards of the land. It's in our best interest to ensure that our water and our land is protected for future generations. But government regulators oftentimes go too far, with little knowledge of the challenges that our farmers face. It's time that we bring some common sense to the regulatory environment. And let's bring some farming experience into leadership in our state agencies. And while we're at it, maybe we should get a farmer in the governor's office. On our state seal, there is a motto: agriculture and commerce. Without agriculture, there is no commerce. And as your governor, I won't forget that. It's tough being an ag producer. 1 out of 8 of our farms in Tennessee have disappeared in the last decade. And our farmers are getting older, in part because we've not committed resources to youth development. And the ones who bear the brunt of it most are small farmers. We need leadership to create an environment where the ag industry can thrive. Whether it's economic community development or education, we only spend a tiny portion of our resources currently for what is a significant part of our economy. As governor, I will be committed to strengthening programs like Ag Enhancement, programs that have helped our farm and thousands of farmers all across Tennessee. But it needs to be funded and it needs to be expanded to include more innovative technologies. And for our livestock producers, we'll take on the regulatory burdens that make it harder for meat processing facilities to locate in Tennessee, and we won't wait on the federal government. And at a time when technology is crucial for production, I'll lead a new commitment to rural broadband because we don't have a choice. Together, we can make Tennessee a leader in agricultural innovation, seeking new opportunities in the emerging ag tech industry that could revolutionize farming and keep our ag economy strong. We all know that there's a shortage of meat processing facilities all across our state. This is the meat that we process from the animals on our farm, and we drive 2 hours every week to find a quality processor. And the reason we don't have enough is because of over-regulation, and we've got to do something different about that. This is me and my daughter Sarah Kate when she won Champion Hereford at Expo. She went on to work as an intern for Extension, and next month she'll be graduating with a degree in animal science, and I am so proud of her. And this is actually me showing a calf as a kid. It happens to be the year that I attended National 4-H Congress. This is actually the barn where Sarah Kate and I spent hours fitting her calves. She showed in 4-H, so did I, so did all my kids. Youth development programs are a critical part of the future of the ag industry in this state. Some people call it CTE, but I call it vocational, technical, and agricultural education. And to a lot of politicians, it's just a talking point, but to me, it's been a way of life, and we need more of it. Tennessee has half the resources devoted to ag education that we had just 2 decades ago. And our neighboring state of Georgia has 4 times the resources dedicated to ag education that we do. At my company, we created an endowed scholarship through 4-H to encourage participation in that particular program. As a state, we need to strengthen our commitment to youth leadership development programs like FFA and like 4-H, and to agricultural education programs like Ag in the Classroom. We need to support the 33,000 ag students, the 347 ag teachers, and the 212 FFA chapters we have all across this state. We also need to improve and support the development of adult education through programs like Young Farmers and Ranchers and Ag Extension all throughout Tennessee. At a time when young farmers are harder and harder to come by, we have to do everything we can to keep the next generation engaged in our way of life. As governor, I'm committed to going beyond our current levels of support. We can start by reaching students earlier. We can find more dedicated time for instruction. And with partners like FFA and 4-H, I know that we can make ag education a valued part of our education system once again. I'm a man of faith, I'm a tested CEO, and I'm a product of rural Tennessee. And I'm running for governor because I believe Tennessee can be an even better place to live, especially our rural communities. And I believe that I know how to lead that change. As governor, we've got to do a better job of promoting and providing vocational, technical, and agricultural education. We've got to do everything we can to defeat this opioid epidemic. And we can do this by leading with the values that made Tennessee great: faith, family, and community. But I need your help to win this thing. Please consider joining my campaign at BillLee.com. And you can find the detailed answers to the Farm Bureau questions at BillLee.com/farm. I'd be honored to have your vote. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you soon.